What I'm saying is this. Saratoga County government is probably the most boring thing you could look at, just like Troy City Council is boring, Troy LDC, Troy IDA. If you're interested in freedom, freedom comes from maximizing your influence at the local level, not getting lost in the weeds on the potholes. Get in, see what's going on with theft and a lack of transparency, hit them hard, and then you spin it up.
Okay, it's Martin and McCashin. We're back again for part 2 of the Saratoga County budget debacle.
Let's refer to the Bible for a minute. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Activists that don't pay attention to the numbers in county government and city government, they're children. It's time to grow up for local activists. Ride herd on your local supervisors. Do real impactful things. Remember your principles. A lot of good activists get involved, then they get on the town board, then they're opposing ideas that are conservative ideas just because the Democrat put them up. That's immature. It's also immature to just do goofy sine wave nonsense. You can always have the one fake person there with, I love Hitler. That's exactly what the left-wing media is going to follow on. Time to grow up, and here's how we grow up. We focus on malfeasance that people are doing, like the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors. They're giving raises. It's billed as reclassification, so you're involved with this goofy civil service system. This is what the PERB does. What's PERB stand for?
Public Employees Relations Board.
This arcane stuff. Now, people listening understand this stuff. I don't. You've been in government your whole life.
Half of my career was government, and the other half was private.
Okay. You haven't been playing this goofy game, grades, civil service nonsense. Nobody knows it unless they're in it. And when you're in the Albany area, you're dealing with a lot of people that know government. When we talk about LDCs, I mean, it's all related, and the topics are boring. And trust me, they're boring for me, too. I would rather be shooting guns today. Or doing,
I'm changing something. My underwear. This is exciting to me.
Yeah, okay.
I've changed my underwear 5 times. Okay. It is exciting.
If you were in the private sector and you tried to get a loan, the bank will do your credit rating, and then they say, okay, if you can't pay back that loan, they get a judgment. They take your house, so you have to pay back that loan. When the LDC loans money, like Troy just did. We had 2 people. We had the Balance Loft and we had Infinity Cafe, both defaulted on loans. And they just get written off. So why are they loaning? Why don't they just take a pile of taxpayer cash and just burn it? You're going to put taxpayer money on the line through the LDC. The reason why we're doing that is to create jobs. What's the metric for seeing whether they did it? Is it okay if they pay back that loan and didn't create the jobs? Yeah, that's okay. But what about the future tax breaks and the pilots? So now you're saying they have to have a reassessment. You get 20-year pilots in Troy. So the O'Neill apartment building, which is right by the JFK Tower, and this is important because it's in District 4, which is the most solidly Democratic district in upstate New York. Always elects a communist. Now you have a literal communist there. And don't tell me that Big Red Anasha didn't make sure he lived in District 4 because it was a guaranteed election. You had Creepy Bill Dunn was in there for 8 years. The most unlikable, hated guy who is now accused of sexual battery and harassment and kidnapping in Reno. He was in government locked down for 8 years.
And the listeners can listen to our podcast about that several podcasts back.
Right.
Well, get them up to speed with our stuff.
Get up to speed, listener. These guys targeted. They did 20, 30-year pilot for this O'Neill building, which is a Democratic stronghold because it's got people that are on welfare in it. And it was just for somebody repurchasing the building. It was already constructed. They had a clause in there that said you have to guarantee this amount of jobs or this amount of economic activity. Be able to show and demonstrate how have you impacted it. If there was a review every year of that pilot, what is your economic impact, and it must meet this level, they could point to all the sales tax revenue that they've paid. How about that? Why don't we do that? Trust me, I've had a failed business before. I know. You understand the impact of government, and you know that government is just overhead. Why would you have more overhead than you need to have?
And governments don't realize that.
They don't realize it.
Governments, hey, we got the money. And
and that's why you got to beat them down.
And
every civil servant should be humble. Humble. I mean humble. Mr. Taxpayer, thank you for employing me. Thank you. You're like Tiny Tim.
Through the window, by the window, that is where I'll be.
because they are overhead. They don't do anything productive.
Who I do come in contact with is DMV, the tax people. There are people that the average person, for years, whenever I had to renew my driver's license, which was, I think back in the day, was every 4 years, I would have to take time off from work to go to the DMV office.
Wasn't it in your building?
And then, lately. No, but I'm saying
when I was DMV in your building,
when I was but when I was in the private sector, I had to take time off from work, and you fill out the form, and then they tell you,
get in line.
Oh, you didn't put this number in. And my mother had a trick. She would go back to the desk and just fill in any number that, like, you had to put your insurance card number in.
And they don't even look.
And I'm not saying my mom's been deceased for 10 years, so
you can't arrest her. We're going to dig her up and try her in jail.
But she would go back to the table, put in any number, come back to the counter. They'd look at it. Okay, because they're drones, they're automatons, they're soulless people. Yeah. But you had to go in 9 to 5. Your job depends on you being there. Like you, if you're spending all kinds of time trying to do government work as this overhead, right, you're not producing what you should be producing. They should be open every day till 9 o'clock. Of course, then they'll tell you, and you're going to have overtime. Overtime. No. You got people, but this is
it's called second shift or third shift.
This is what's happened up at the county is that the union comes in.
Yeah.
And says, you can't make them work till 9. What do you mean? I got these people Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they work till 9. They come in at noon, work till 9.
Yeah.
Well, and these other, you can't do that.
Hopefully this Janus decision coming up this summer will kill these public unions. Because even FDR said public unions shouldn't be legal. They shouldn't. They're a racket.
It's a racket, and it hurts
productivity. Listen, why wouldn't you have some DMV slug there 24 hours a day? If you really cared about society making gains. Think about that.
But now you do have a DMV person there.
Yeah, it's called the internet.
If you come into the DMV and get your license there, the local DMV where you got that license gets some VIG on the they get a little taste of the payment. If you do it online, you're still paying the same amount. The state gets 100% of it. They don't like it. But as I used to say to the mighty midget Marcione, it's inconvenient. Even though I only had to take 20 steps from my office to the DMV office, that it was still inconvenient to have to do that. And I remembered the days when I had to fill out these forms and I didn't have this card or I didn't do this or some bullshit thing that nobody's looking at.
Right.
It'd be one thing. I got it. I frequently in the job I had, I'd ask for information, but I only asked for information that I knew I was going to refer to at some time, maybe not every day, maybe once a year, but I knew I needed that.
Right.
The state, they just have you fill this crap out and they don't care. But now, because of the internet, all the local offices are hurting. Well, why are they hurting? But are they thinking, maybe we better be open till 9 o'clock. Maybe we better make this easy for people. Maybe we better. Easy like you're going to scam the system, but easy like let's make this convenient. Let's make the DMV a place that people don't mind coming to.
What, are you going to have like Starbucks in the DMV?
A Starbucks? I don't know. But just make it so if you make a mistake, it's not, hey, you made a mistake. Okay, so what's the deal here? Some of the stuff I have to do at the DMV, I don't have to do online.
That's right.
Or I didn't have to. So that's interesting.
It's inconsistent.
So why don't then the DMV directors all say to the state, look, you don't ask for it on the internet. When they come to our office, we don't have to ask for it. But let's get back to Saratoga County. And
price of liberty is eternal vigilance. You want to keep taxes low, here's how. You get involved and you start looking at these agendas, Saratoga County Board of Supervisors. Are you looking at the agendas every month? Are they even online? A lot of times we catch Troy. They don't post this stuff till the last minute, especially controversial stuff. So where there is no...
And that's intentional.
It doesn't matter if it's intentional or if it's incompetent. Either way, it's got to stop. And it's not going to stop until local activists stop being lazy, listening to Hannity, Rush Limbaugh. You do that for 3 hours a day, but you should focus local, because once you establish yourself as a local power, political power equals fear. If you're not afraid of me, I'm not afraid of that McCashin. I'm not afraid of that McCashin. Then guess what? I got no power. See, the number one fear in someone's life is death. The number two fear in someone's life is social humiliation. Through mockery, you can get political power. Political power is based on what? What's government? Government is the monopoly over violence in a particular area. The government has a monopoly of violence.
And with that, John Lennon said, power to the people.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up here, and more on this. I promise you, listener, we're going to get to the meat, although I think you've been getting a lot of good information, where we're coming from, why we're doing all of this. See you next time.
See you next time.